All right, hello everyone. It's Mystic Djister back with some more Yomi action at last, and one of my favorite things going on right now. We've got some Yomi, obviously, very high up on the list, but we've also got Djister playing. So we're going to see some Rook action, which we very rarely get to see on this channel anymore because I no longer do that kind of thing. But Djister is one of the best in the business, coming back for this IYL match against CarpeGuitarrem. Yeah, it's very exciting to see someone who's actually good at Rook do their thing. CarpeGuitarrem, I would expect to start with Onimaru, so we're probably going to see Onimaru Rook, would be my guess at the matchup. See how we're doing about that. And which is doubly exciting because I will get to learn some things about that matchup. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, yeah, I used to think this matchup was pretty even for Rook. The reason being that his 5 block actually just deals an average of 10 damage in this matchup, which is much higher than it usually is in most matchups. With very rare exceptions, he's able to do 20 if he blocks a martial law. And sometimes he deals 8 when he blocks a king, but otherwise, fairly, much higher damage usually than Rook is used to. I thought that Rock Armor was actually pretty good in this matchup because Onimaru deals a flat 20. So you can often get your full 24 if you're able to set up for Rock Armor. Rook has a kind of useless 9 block, so he pretty much just has to worry about Onimaru's 10 attack. So those are things that are good for him. He's got fairly efficient AA, which undercuts a lot of moves on Oni's part. He's got big beefy normals, stuff like that. So all of those things kind of work to his advantage. On the other hand, he's lacking one of the premier tools against Onimaru, which is dodges. Any other character, their strategy against Onimaru tends to be, other than whatever early game that they can play against him, in the late game, you've got a mix-up between dodging into very efficient, your most efficient dodge follow-up, and duffing throws from Onimaru, because the Onimaru side of that mix-up is Final Authority, backed face cards, and throws. So Rook doesn't have that. Like I said, his 5s are kind of lackluster. Well, his 5s are better than most matchups, but they're kind of lackluster in dealing with Oni late game. I think they are okay in the early game, probably. And they're probably all right in the late game. Okay, yeah, trying to find a 10 or an 8 or a throw there with that 6 attack. Djister now at 12 cards, so he has the fuel he needs in order to get in with Rock Armor. On Onimaru's side, he can very much play for dodges. Djister as a Rook player, there we go. 1 turn late on the 10 means success for CarpeGuitarrem and great sadness for Djister. Djister perhaps looking to avoid an ace. He's got to navigate the ace side and the fast attack side of Onimaru's mix-up. Yeah, the use of jokers in this matchup, I think pretty much is just whenever you have them, I guess. I'm expecting Djister to play pretty standard Rook for him, which is a lot of blocks, getting all 4 aces, and then playing an incredibly good Checkmate Buster, Wall of Earth, or Wall of Vines, or whatever it is, his AA attack mix up with lots of blocks thrown in. and winning off of that, which is a very effective strategy, I think, against Onimaru. Onimaru does have an incredible amount of attacks to deal with Rook as a character, and with 90 hit points, he really doesn't have to play worried about blocks at all. Yeah, there we see, jacks are just basically non-efficient aces at this point. They're going to do essentially the same thing. They have a slightly higher top end. You can do jack 7-8, or actually no, 7-8, that's 15-19. Okay, so they have a slightly lower top end than the ace-ace. So, and this is kind of the, I was thinking about this when I was playing my match against Djister. Oh, so sad. He had the checkmate buster opportunity. Instead, he's going to lose those aces. Probably going to get hit for 25 or 35 here. 25 on the low end if he's got the other. Oh, just, sorry, 15. Nice, had them both. He now has Carpe on a fairly low hand. So we're going to see how Djister plays this against him. But we've got 12 card Rook, so all elements of Rook's game plan are active. We have 2 known aces in the discard, so the only thing that's not online is Checkmate Buster. So now we're going to see, how does Djister play out this opportunity that he's been given against Carpe, and how does Carpe respond to it? Carpe responds to it with big normals, just trying to cover kings, trying to cover throws. Djister perhaps thinking like, oh, okay, now that you're on low hand, you're probably not going to final authority if I've got another AA. It's possible that I have another AA because my draws are godlike. So, maybe we'll go in and find, maybe this is an opportunity to sink a king. And that was, in fact, not the case. Round 2, okay. Slow attack to find, to encourage a fast attack from Djister. Queen undercuts that. Finds 10 damage. Now we're rapidly entering the phase of the game where rock armor is essentially off of the table. Onimaru deals very chunky damage, so that's kind of a benefit and a weakness. If Djister can get him down to a position where rock armor lethal is on the table, so if he's at 24, both of the jokers are not in his hand, or neither of the jokers are in his hand, and then Rook does have an opportunity to play for rock armor in this matchup fairly effectively. There should still be 2 aces in Carpe's hand. I'm actually a little surprised we saw the queen instead of, maybe he's just looking to trade with AA there, rather than to get the queen or the aces undercut. I'm assuming at this point in the game he's going to be playing for martial law. Like if he dodges into something, he'll just dodge into martial law rather than trying to attach the aces. He does have them as a fallback plan against rock armor. So Rook does have to have ace-ace online and be willing to play it in order to get around that particular card. And Djister now sitting on 13 cards, has all 4 aces in his hand, presumably. Or at least he picked up the aces. Yeah, 2 aces from his discard, 1 ace from his deck, so I would assume that Checkmate Buster is now online. Carpe mixing in a dodge. Do you have to play? Well, I don't know if you have to play into Checkmate Buster perhaps in this matchup, but it is probably correct to allow yourself to be hit by Checkmate Buster a certain amount of times, certain percentage of the time, by showing that you are willing at least to disrespect it. Djister has not yet shown that he is willing to play it, looking for his timing. Ooh, wow. Yeah, expecting Carpe to follow up this this risky move of allowing himself to be checkmate bustered with a move that will beat checkmate buster, so an attack of some kind, just trying to find 20 damage that way. Now has the aces in the discard again, so CarpeGuitarrem is very safe to throw. You can continue dodging a lot here, or go in with the 7. Okay, just pumps it once. 35 is equivalent to 30 in the sense that unless you are winning combat with exactly, 5 twice, you still kill. Like 5 twice kills at 30, whereas you need to win one more combat if they're at 35, but 35 is basically equivalent. If you're hitting with A's, if you're hitting with jacks, stuff like that. Essentially 2-1 combats for Carpe here. Djister with plenty more that he has to win in order to make that happen. Okay, powering up the 8s. Makes him a little bit weaker to guard crushes. Rook always having to manage guard crushes a little bit. Because, again, no dodges. Does mean that he will be relying on blocks to beat any attacks that Onimaru has. Especially final authority backed attacks. I'm gonna bet Carpe played an attack here. Oh, okay, went for the gold burst. That is 1 down. Djister now with all 4 aces in hand. Just going to discard some cards. Yep, 4s, we don't need those where we're going. Don't need 6s where we're going. Just trying to manage the hand for maximum amount of power-ups. The 4s are already 2 in the discard. We had 1 6 in the discard already. I'm going to be managing for present and future power-ups, assuming he can survive. Even a failed checkmate buster, he still gets an opportunity to power up for it again. So, and there we go. CarpeGuitarrem again showing that he's willing to die to, or take 50 to checkmate buster, put himself at 37. Driving Djister slowly mad, or at least if I was in Djister's shoes, I would be consistently going like, ah, damn it, that was a missed opportunity. So here I think CarpeGuitarrem goes for an attack to cover because he showed he was willing to play into it twice. Ah, there we go. That's the one exchange you really don't want to see as Rook. Carpe just trying to shut down basically everything except ace-ace. Tiniest move. Oni breaks a nail. So CarpeGuitarrem showing a commanding presence and lead in the game currently. Playing pretty much perfectly, I would say. There we go. Okay, finally gets tagged by Wall of Vines. Are we going to see the immediate power up? Or Djister waits a little bit longer? Okay, there we go. Yeah, powers up queens. Yeah, 1 ace back. We have another power up. Yep. Yep, 2s. Not necessary. Yeah, the thing I admire about Djister's Rook playstyle is he is super willing to play basically no throws except king and checkmate buster. Like those are the only throws I'm going to be playing, and with a very rare exception. I assume that there are some matchups where that's quite different, but at least in this matchup, still holds true. I only see the 9 from Carpe. No, okay, allows the trade. Saying, I don't really need to spend a 9 there. You're already at 23. Don't value the knockdown tremendously. Well, Djister has... Oh, actually, no. I was about to say he has some play about jokers, but the jokers are currently in his discard already. Got those very, very early to prevent some damage. So won't talk about that situation because it's not real. Does have ace-ace in hand. Ooh, gets him with the clap. Rare footage of an actual factual combat win here from Djister. Immediate face down and respects it, getting the joker out of CarpeGuitarrem's hand, and that is both jokers on his side, I think. Yes, okay, so we're both playing naked now. Let's see, we've got 5 dodges left on CarpeGuitarrem's side. No final authorities yet played, and still plenty of opportunities. So 5 total opportunities to get a final authority play out there. Okay, block. CarpeGuitarrem saying, well, now that final, Checkmate Buster is out of the contention, the worst I'm going to get here is 15. So perfectly happy to have that happen. Continues powering up for aces, and I'm strongly suspecting that this is a setup play on Carpe's part. I think he is going to, he's powered up for that ace, putting it in Djister's mind that like, hey, I've got an 8-card hand, I haven't used final authority so far, I've played a lot of queens, I may not have final authority, or I may not have like a good use. Maybe all my kings are hiding, or I've only got 1, or all my jacks are hiding except for 1. So why don't you just play your ace-ace and you'll be totally fine, and we'll see the final authority play here. Oh my god, he actually gets the dodge off again. Djister just unwilling to checkmate Buster. See, I'm excited to see what the adjustments will be in game 2 and 3. Okay, yeah, so confirmed does not have 3 kings in hand. Let's just see, it's rapidly becoming important to see how much chip the jacks do. Excuse me. Okay, 1 chip on the jacks. Queens, there are 3 in the discard, so those do have 2 chips. So we have a possible 2-turn lethal setup here if there are 2 9s in his hand. And just has singleton jack, singleton king. Okay, we did get the power up, so I like that because it does keep the possibility of Checkmate Buster lethal against a throw from CarpeGuitarrem. I think if Djister had not picked up those aces, it would be very, very likely that we see a throw from Carpe on the next turn. Again, he does not need to fear lethal on that. Ooh, and there it is. Do we have final authority? I would be incredibly surprised if we did not. Yeah, there it is. CarpeGuitarrem navigating the mid-size mid-game there to close things out. But Djister, making a pretty strong return in that matchup for sure. So we'll see what the adjustment points are for Djister. Has he learned something about the dodge timings from Carpe? Carpe threw, I think, once that last game. So I would expect Djister to essentially stay at the null hypothesis in terms of like how, what are his throw habits and stuff like that. So, maybe remaining kind of neutral or just continuing to play as normal essentially. Like no new data found, therefore I will continue to play under my normal assumption. And Carpe taking an opportunity here in the early game just to block, I believe. So I think both of the players now are going to feel pretty confident, essentially allowing Carpe to dictate the pace of the match. Djister is going to block until he has all the cards he needs. Looking for power-ups for his aces, looking for natural drawn aces, that sort of thing. Okay, not a bad combat loss on Djister's part there. Just takes 10. Definitely one of the least affecting combat losses. Like if you get hit by Oni for 10, you should actually be pretty happy. I was like, oh, it could have been so much worse. So much worse. Okay, nice. Gets the block off. Djister building. Happy as a clam inside of his shell. Carpe also probably pretty happy with those exchanges. Neither of those would have gotten normal draw anyway, so basically normal situation. Yeah, so that's one of the things I really respect about Djister's play. I don't think I got into it too much, but yeah, just being willing to only throw with kings and checkmate buster essentially. The reason I don't like it, and it's something I only noticed in my last matchup against Djister. The reason I don't like it is, for me, playing rook, like the exciting stuff. It pushes out the exciting stuff about the character, the stuff that I really like about the character, which is the rock armor thing. The rock armor thing is really, really cool. I really super dig that part of the game plan. I think it's a really, really neat ability. And like just at any stage of the game, but I recognize, like, Djister's play makes me recognize that actually in most situations, because of Rook's combo damage, like his max combo damage of 24, it is mostly going to be, you should basically, I'm not going to say only, but you should only use it in the late game to checkmate people. And in certain situations where, for example, somebody overextends against you in the mid game, you've still got relatively good life totals, you got a ton of cards and they've got very few, right? That's where their combos are not going to outvalue yours anyway, right? Where their supers are already offline or already been spent, that sort of thing. Then it can be good as well. And I think part of what made me bad at playing this character is that I wanted to play for that almost all of the time. Essentially constantly looking for opportunities to rock armor. Saving queens for exclusively 10 follow-ups or jack follow-ups if there wasn't a 7-8 in hand, stuff like that. And Djister plays just a more effective rook that, in my pessimistic view, boils the character down to decisions that aren't as interesting for me personally to play. I think it's like, the dude is incredible at playing the checkmate buster, wall of vines, special block kind of mix-up game, and that is absolutely super valid, first of all. Much more effective than playing for rock armor all the time. It's just not the kind of thing that I want to be doing. And so it makes me sad that, I guess it just makes me realize that there's a reason that, I was right and justified for myself to give up the character in order to play play characters that are more the kind of thing that I'm looking for. It's kind of that, like, I don't know, where you watch somebody who's like way better at you at something, and it kind of makes you a little bit sad because you're like, I see what they're doing, and it's actually rad, but I just simply can't find my way to doing that. Ooh, cross up 6. One of those brutal opportunities. I like the 9 block from Djister there, basically covering the 5. Because if Onimaru is going for a cross-up attack, it's going to be, beatable by some kind of wake-up attack, typically, except for the 5. The 5 is the thing that really gives Onimaru a strong mix-up on that turn. Because your options to block successfully are super, super constrained after getting knocked down by Final Authority. But so far, I think I like overall, the position of this game currently. Oof, yeah, that's big damage. Still, again, much more even life totals. Onimaru is at 7 cards. Djister is at 8, so not ideal. Does have 2 aces in this card, so that's the only thing that makes it kind of difficult at the moment. Getting that 9 crossed up might have been... I know we don't see any blocks in the discard, but now, if that was the only 9 he had, he's much more vulnerable to 8 attacks. You know, if he's trying to block stuff, it's going to be just that much more difficult. So, a different kind of challenging end game here. Rare footage of Djister actually normal throwing there. Sinks the 2 throw. Just putting it out there for Carpe, saying like, okay, I'm not going to let you just block as much as you want. Could have been a counter throw read. Like, okay, maybe you're going to go for a throw here. I'm at 34 hit points, so, you know, a 7th throw won't quite do it, but like, it would start to move in that direction. Like, throw for 11 puts him at 23. It's very, very close to 1 combat lethal. Ooh, there's that ace, that life-saving ace. Onimaru has a lot of tools to make rock armor difficult. But the ace is definitely the best of those tools. And a lot of versus rook matchups, it's very important to have some kind of effective tool to hedge against. Oh, just with any matchup really. It's very important to have tools that hedge. So they lose to very specific things, but they cover a wide variety of options. And usually those are tools with specific speeds or specific properties. And the single ace in this matchup is an incredible example of that. It can lose to some of Rook's tools, some very basic Rook tools, just blocking, right? So Rook, by his nature, has to keep some amount of blocks in his range at all times, in general. But, you know, if it runs into a block, you're not that mad. It doesn't matter all that much. You give Rook a card, you're gonna end up doing that anyway. But more importantly, it hedges against every single offensive option in his toolbox. It covers rock armor, it covers all of his face cards, covers every single throw, including his king. It covers any attack. And the only thing it loses to is AA. So yeah, very, very important. And with 2 successful 5 blocks, we now have Carpe in a position where he is at 28 hit points. Djister is at 33. This is one of those, if Djister can find 4 more damage, put Carpe at 24, now we have a compelling rock armor window. We're seeing 2 aces in the discard. They're probably going to be found naturally at this point. So, you know, 7 cards or 8 cards out of nearly 40. Fairly good odds. And Carpe just clamming up, saying, okay, if you really want to end this, you're going to have to throw me. I'm not going to give you any more free special blocks. Let's just have a count. So, you know, only 2 5s. So we've got 2 5s left and 4 3s. So lots of special blocks remaining for Djister. Okay, yeah. Carpe going like, you powered up once. This could be a checkmate setup. So let's talk about the basic checkmate setups. Some of them rely on, you know, you power up once. Okay, but most basic, you find 4 silent aces and you just let it fly at some point, right? You power up once to give them an indication that, oh, okay, AA is probably online, so I should probably cover ace-ace just by blocking a little bit right here, and then they take 50. And then the other side of that is you power up a lot, and then you AA them. It's like, oh my god, Checkmate Buster's online. I'm just going to cover against Checkmate Buster just this once. And they deal 20. And then you power up and you put them in the same mix-up over and over again. So Carpe, as soon as he saw that single ace power up, it's like, okay, let's just slow down a little bit. Let's just not panic. That first or second joker is first joker. So Djister's going to have to deal with one more of those. Joker, another fully, get out of jail free card against Rook. And one that at this stage of the game doesn't really matter in terms of if it's successful or not. It's evaluated based on what combat win it gets. So like if it's blocked, it's like meh. If it beats ace-ace or Checkmate Buster, then that's great. And if it beats anything else, it's like meh. Onimaru has plenty of late game tools against Rook anyway. He doesn't really need two aces, which are kind of weak and lose to the same kind of stuff that Rook is going to be willing to be doing anyway, which is play either Checkmate Buster or ace-ace or block. So, I mean, it does give you another opportunity to hedge against special blocks if you really, really need to, and you've got, the hit points to be able to absorb a wall of vines, say. But yeah, generally, it's just a free combat win, but it's most important against aces on Rook's side. Okay, gets the second joker out of the way. Djister with just ungodly patience. That's the other thing. Like, I'm not patient enough to play Rook. Like, my god. Perfectly willing to play other characters patiently and block, with advantage and all that sort of stuff. But man, I want to go in. I want to go in eventually. The Rook just, you gotta wait it out. You gotta sit on your back foot. Make them come to you. Apply pressure through your inactivity. Let's do a face card count. Just see where we're at. 3 jacks in the discard. That's nice. Queens and kings. So there's very little range on Carpe's part. Very little range that he can find. He is going to get a lot of opportunities to. He's still got lots of 9s that he can potentially play. He's got a third of his deck and 3 left. Third of his deck in his hand and 3 final authorities left. So it's still going to be a challenge for sure on Djister's part. Okay, there we go. Just sitting him down over and over and over again. Special blocks coming out. Just going to force him down from 28 to 18. Ace-ace is now lethal if it successfully gets through. Ooh, more aces. Interesting. Well, I believe he now has 4 aces in hand. So 4 known cards in hand. It does reduce the chance that there is a face card and final authority. It does give him guaranteed final authority opportunities. Oh! Wow, found the block. Went for the rock armor cross up there. Probably looking to beat out a throw of some kind. See how many dodges are left. We got 1, 2, 3 dodges left in Carpe's deck. So 3 dodges, 3 final authorities, plenty of throws. Tense combat reveals here. Ooh. Let's hit with the queen. Yeah. So one thing you can do, so the timer, when it runs out, it will play whatever is the leftmost card in your hand. So one thing, if you're debating between 2 options, you can always slide one of them into the leftmost position, and then debate, and then you're always going to get stuff like that. Sometimes you just don't have the time, you're considering stuff too much. Not a great combat for Djister there, but does indicate that Carpe still has the final authorities. Okay, there's a jack. That is, I believe, the fourth jack. No, yeah, fourth jack. Okay, cool. So we got 2 queens, 2 kings still in play. Any jokers left? Yeah, 2 jokers remaining on Djister's side. We are approaching an opportunity where he can probably just loose AA a bunch. And then he can hedge against kings. Carpe willing to trying to sniff out these 5s, or a 1-5, 1-3 still lurking in the deck. Got half of his remaining deck in his hand, essentially. Rapidly approaching the same proportions over here on the left side. Oh, sinks it. Ah, nice. Got him. GG's got him. Yeah. Manages to sneak the checkmate buster in there. Something about be the best in the world at what you do. I mean, he definitely is. Yeah. This guy truly has rook mentality in his play. The patience is simply incredible. I would have cracked 20 times over. I mean, I made a tweet shortly after playing my set against him, which was like me. Oh man, I love grindy Yomi games. Me after playing 1 match against Djister, and then it's just a picture of Setsuki's queen. Because like, oh my god. Again, like, I really thought of myself as a good slow player, but Djister just puts me to absolute shame. I mean, that absolutely makes sense given how effective he is with this character. This is absolutely what I would say, absolutely 100% correct rook play that you are seeing at all times from Djister. If he has any flaws, which huge if true, if he's any flaws, it is that patience. It's the double-edged sword of that patience, where he can lose to throws quite a lot if you time them correctly. But scary to deal with a down backing Djister. All right, CarpeGuitarrem cracking open Djister early here, getting the 10 attack online, willing to play it in neutral, expecting Djister to sit back, play patient, build up a huge hand. Carpe making some adjustments to try to extend the phase of the game where Djister wants to play patiently, and then punish him for that patient play. Force Djister to play some normal attacks when he's maybe, doesn't have huge payoff off of them, and see what happens there. Are we going to see an immediate second 10? Yes, we do. Once again, cracking open another 9. Big early life lead. Keeping the hand sizes very equal. Again, very efficient damage from Onimaru off of his guard crushes. Basically always going to maintain that same hand size. Okay. Oh, that tells me he's low on blocks. So if I'm CarpeGuitarrem now, I start putting down some 3s, 4s, singleton A's, just blocking. All of those are going to be a good hedge against whatever a block-starved hand on Djister's part. Okay, found another 9. Sweet. Yeah, Carpe immediately going like, oh, okay, well, if you're going to start spending resources, good late game resources or mid game resources like 3, I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit slower, allow you to overextend. There we go. Nice. Just you're probably looking for another 10. Trying to cover against a 10 chase after showing Carpe his 9. Ooh, nice. Evening things up here. Very even life totals now. Within 5 hit points of each other. Djister with the counter king. Carpe saying, okay, I don't have a 10. I'm going to try to open up this, get rid of this 9 so that I can have the threat of 8s online. Probably force some more movement from you. There we go. I've got to give kudos. I've been talking about Djister's play a lot, but I've got to give serious kudos to the way Carpe is playing this. This is a very scary Onimaru that he is showing us right now. And the reason I'm saying that is we're not seeing any one type of rock paper scissors strategy. There's a series kind of mental traps that is more apparent with newer players. Well, I want to say newer players. That's more apparent with like mid-level players, I would say. Like they're managing their hand very effectively. They're managing their resources. They're playing strategically and all that. But they are often they'll often fall into a couple of different categories of decision making. One of which is chasing. So an opponent will play a block, and then on the next combat reveal, they'll reveal something that beats the block. On that combat reveal, whatever happens, and then if the opponent plays an attack, they're going to play either an attack that beats that, or they're going to go ahead and play a dodge. So something always responding essentially to saying like, okay, I'm gonna beat you if you do the same thing again. It's by no means like bad. There are definitely times where it is very important to chase. It can pressure an opponent who's doing exactly the same kind of thing, which is saying like, well, you didn't beat this last time, so I'm going to do it again. And there's a variety of these things. So like always blocking twice, like always following a block with a block. That's something that can happen. Attacking twice or doing one particular Yomi sign of the rock paper scissors triangle twice, and then switching to the side that beats whatever beats that side. So that's kind of like anti-chasing essentially. So there's a variety of these different like purely rock paper scissors style, like the decision is made based on what is revealed in the combat on the prior turn or a sequence of combats, as opposed to evaluation about what is currently in my opponent's hand, what is the current situation, that kind of thing. Again, not saying that these are bad things. All of these are important strategies to keep in mind because they are all in play at all levels of play. What I'm saying is it kind of players who are at the early part of their sort of mid experience journey often over rely on one or the other of these strategies, and Carpe is explicitly not doing that. Carpe, I think, is making incredibly good strategic decisions in terms of what he reveals on any given time based on hand composition of his opponent, hand size of his opponent, stuff like that, making educated guesses about what kind of combat reveal. Like all of these things are in play for Carpe, and I just want to give him kudos because, oh my god, oh Jesus Christ, wow, he just had it. Dude, I wasn't paying close enough attention to see if he had powered up for any of that. But yeah, sometime I think that might have been completely silent checkmate buster. Jesus. 2020 probably. But yeah, just regardless of the fact, sometimes you just get checkmate busted. Regardless of all that, I just want to say it's very exciting, given that I think CarpeGuitarrem joined maybe a year after, like fairly contemporaneously with me. I feel like, and it just struck me that after putting in the work and working with Quince and picking different characters and going on this huge journey, he's become a really credible thread, like a really strong player. It's pretty rad. Yeah, so I just wanted to give CarpeGuitarrem his props because it's a long journey to get good at this game. It's a very long journey to get good at this game, and it can be very discouraging. The climb to become effective and a credible threat in tournaments is a long one and can be quite steep. That's what makes this game super exciting. It's not something you can. It's something you can pick up and play immediately. But in order to really get good at it, is quite a difficult thing. It comes with a lot of setbacks and a lot of heartbreak and a lot of salt, and a lot of work. So yeah, kudos to Carpe for putting in that work, and because it's really showing off. Everybody likes CMB. Oh man. No comment. Okay. Carpe sticking to his guns, saying, you don't throw enough to punish this block range. I'm just going to build up to 12 cards, and then we're going to get to work. And in the meantime, if you happen to throw away a bunch of 3s and 5s, I am quite happy to see that happen. Djister, for his part, adjusting, saying, I just really don't want to get 10'd. Super don't want to get 10'd. Maybe he's only got 4s as good blocks. Rook's blocks are actually really limited. Ooh, yeah, there we go. This matchup in particular, you got 2, 4, and 8, of which only the 8 is kind of okay. And not great in the early game anyway, because again, 10s and 8s are going to come flying your way, and you got 10s, the 8 block's not going to do it. You got your 9, and then your other odd blocks, your 3 and your 5, disappear when you use them. So it can be quite difficult to find your way to a place where you can actually block successfully. All of the grapplers actually have a kind of a hard time. Kind of have a hard time blocking against Onimaru. Trock probably has the worst time of it because all of his blocks actually disappear even if they're successful, so that's not great. You only get a single use out of your 8s, probably, anyway. And then Midori has his highest block is an 8 as well, so similar position, and then only Rook really has the 9, but again, he's got his 9 and his 8, and those are his only options. So all of those are going to lose to Onimaru's 10. So gets the Joker off. I think a lot of people probably save the Jokers to deal with dodge follow-up. I think Djister's response to that is just checkmate buster them when they dodge, probably is better. Okay, nice. Gets rid of the attached ace, also reflects 10 damage. Very nice 5. And again, playing around the chase, and Carpe is not... I don't believe he's in that mode currently. So will Djister throw or block here? If we are thinking he's playing anti-chase, yeah, okay, goes for the block. That's just good rook play, so we can't really call that an RPS strategy, I think. CarpeGuitarrem found his way up to 10 cards. Djister up at 11 now. Starting to get his the threat of power up for aces online. Give him the clap. 7-8 or just the 10. Queen plus, I guess. We allow. An interesting decision here. Oh, okay, yeah, nice. Okay, was actually correct. Even if it was a bluff, there is a fairly strong or fairly good argument to be made to just let that slide. You're still going to be at 11 cards. Your opponent's gone down 2 against your 1. Okay, it's caught. Djister essentially saying there, like, okay, well, the jack worked last time. It's kind of a difficult thing for you to deal with. You don't have such a high hand size that I'm really worried about you dodging. This covers both throw and guard crush, so just a nice solid jack. If it happens to outspeed a jack or a king on Onimaru's side, then I've pulled. If you want to make that a combat win, either I win combat or you have to play a lot of cards in order to deal with that. Yeah, Carpe willing to play slow here. Going like, again, you haven't powered up at all. I will risk the completely silent 2-turn in a row or 2-game in a row checkmate buster here, just to build up a little bit more of a hand. Manages to pull a 5 out of Djister's hand, which is nice. 3 5s now gone. Late game is going to be a little bit more challenging. Yeah, Carpe just turtling up. I don't gotta do a thing. Both players, 12 card hands. Strategies alter. Dodges are now very possible from Carpe. Djister might make a decision either to throw a little bit more as a result, or just to continue turtling. Just say, oh, if you dodge against my blocks, then I'm perfectly happy to let you do that, my friend. I will build up 13 card hands, power up efficiently, get my aces online, and then I will make decisions. Okay, Dangling Vines, get that 3 or that 5 damage in. Carpe basically just spending the queens kind of in this mid position. I don't know how I feel about that. It's probably fine. Doesn't really cover rock armor, but and Djister has been throwing some normals out there. Rook mirrors. In a manner of speaking, yes. Anything can happen. Oh, timer play. Ooh, successfully gets the king. Djister, I feel at this point is just going to try to pull as many resources out of Carpe's hand as he possibly can. We coaching now, Carolyn. All right, 2 aces in hand. It's not going to be silent if it's checkmate buster this time. Carpe with that king indicating that he does have final authority. Oh, wow. I think Djister's made the adjustment. Just bad. Yeah, okay. Well, first of all, yeah, power up for 2 aces. That's the classic. But also saying like, okay, in ambiguous states, I think he's caught on to. In ambiguous states of power up and ace count, I believe Carpe will play around AA. And as a result, this checkmate buster will find its target. I am the throw of my sword, in a sense. Now, he does have a nice life lead. That's very good. However, three fives are in the discard. Let's see how many threes. 2 3s in the discard. Final Authority is still a very credible threat. Rock Armor is still a very credible threat. So there is still a lot of damage that both of these players can do to each other. Okay, it's a good exchange for Carpe. We now have only 2 special blocks remaining, 1 3 and 1 5, so one of those is not going to hurt tremendously. So 1 attached ace, yes. 1 joker, both down 1. Definitely possible. We have like a 1/3 chance that both of them have joker in hand. I just checked in again. Coded messages here from Feathers to Djister. Actually, no, but it's happening. It's breaking causality. It's happening backwards in time. Djister first checkmate busters, and then Feathers gives the signal that Rook has just checkmate bustered. Okay, things are getting more dire for Carpe here. Djister, I believe, now playing from, yeah, definitely playing from a position where it's like, you've got to make moves. I can afford to sit back. I'm going to hold steady. Just wait until I can get my aces back online, or some aces back online. Two kings, 3 queens. So a good thing for things that Carpe has in his favor are 2 jacks that he hasn't yet played, and a lot of big normals. So he can chunk down this 60 hit point golem pretty quickly if he gets the correct combat wins. Ooh, normal throw, very nice. Carpe saying, I'm safe here. I will not be checkmate bustered. I'm at 21 hit points. Cannot be killed with a throw. Now, Final Authority, because you are within throw lethal range. The kings. Expect Djister to AA or just block. Ooh, went for the 7th throw. Carpe spending the joker, now playing naked, gets double ace online, now has a way of hedging against everything except AA, but AA is online. So this is less strong than it would ordinarily be. All right, can he close out this game with a win? Carpe definitely at a disadvantage at this stage. Djister kind of indicating he doesn't have a king throw, so probably 2 more losses to throw necessary, or at least 1 more loss to throw necessary before things will close out. Yeah, and Djister just going in. Carpe has the 2nd jack. Gotta play it anyway. We've only got 2 jacks left. Okay. Oh, no. He's got 4 jacks left. Never mind. Expect to see another jack from him next turn, is my guess. If he was playing completely safe, he will combat reveal a jack here. The mix-up is jack with Final Authority, throw. Okay, king. is the third king. We might have a stranded singleton king in the hand at this point. Djister just squirreling away aces for a rainy day. Not... I'm not sure if that changes anything. I mean, yeah, he gets the... If he doesn't have any kings in hand, he now has the reach in order to get 11 damage on a successful checkmate buster, but... Powering up the 2 8s, which may come into play. There's the 7th row. That is only the first 9 that has hit the discard. So Djister pretty safe to anything that isn't a 10, but we only had 1 10 played. .26 hit points remain. Not yet in the danger zone. But Final Authority slowly becoming scarier. Djister still has an unplayed... Oh, no, he has played both jokers. Shoot. Where did the second joker get played? Must have missed that. This is the way comebacks are made. Djister expecting CarpeGuitarrem to play scared and give him that Final Authority. Still going to be a long way to chip out, though. Jacks deal a single chip. Kings, there's only 1 left. Ace deals 2, but my god, that's terrifying. 11-6. Tense moments here. Next combat reveal is going to do it, probably. Gets it with the 8th row. Ties up the set. Nicely done by Carpe, and Djister, yeah, that's the other side of Djister's patience there, unfortunately. Can't really fault him. Man, I was so expecting to see the Final Authority to come out. All right, ace match. Last match of the set. See who comes out, who strikes the loudest. Yep. Okay. Crushes the king. 15 damage though, and gets rid of a king of his own. In a game as slow as Onimaru versus Rook, as slow as these matches have been, you know, we saw both of these players go down to like sub 20 cards in at least one of those games. I think holding on to the king, even if it's a singleton at this point, is probably fairly valuable. Ooh, Djister reacting with the throw. Something about that exchange setting him to be aggressive, saying, hey, you're probably going to throw, you're probably going to, yeah, maybe it's the 5 attack. I don't think Carpe has really played 5s in neutral all that much. He's like, so Djister might be thinking, oh, okay, well, if you're playing the 5, that means you're not playing an 8 or a 10, which means you don't have an 8 or a 10, so I'm not likely to get... Oh, the cross-up air horns! Mew, 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 mew. Jesus. Something you very rarely see happen. Yeah. I think you just leave this here. I don't know if you follow this up. Maybe with queen? Just queen? No pump? Yeah, nice. I like that. I mean, obviously, it turned out to be the correct decision, but I really like that. Right now, we've got a 2-card differential between the two players. We haven't often seen that happen, but when we have, typically Djister's been way low on the life total. So right now, he's getting card advantage with life advantage. This is a really, really good setup for him into the mid game. Okay, there we go. Carpe found his 8. Cards that avert evil. Okay, crushes, pumps the other king. Yeah, now he's forced to get rid of the kings. So kings are going to be, you just don't have to value them as much or respect them as much as a rook in the matchup. Life totals are still very, very close. Unfortunately, that did not move Carpe's hand size any further down. Nice 6th throw, just a really changing up his range here. Punishing CarpeGuitarrem's kind of awkward hand, it looks like. Showing the flexibility. Because all ranges, all hard ranges, become stronger if you can mix in a little bit of range counterplay. So if you're blocking a lot, your opponent's taking advantage of that by blocking a lot, building up a hand, and then fighting you, large hand to large hand. Well, here we go. Way to deal with that is to mix in a little bit more throws, get a little bit more aggro that way. This is a strong setup for an actual cross-up attempt from Djister, like a legit cross-up attempt. That singleton ace, 2 kings played. Queen is the only thing that really does anything. Oh, he gets it. He gets it. Carpe was unwilling to play the 5 attack side, wanted to hedge against blocks. Yeah, Djister has the max punish follow-up, pulling ahead in the life lead. Still up a card. Just walk him slowly. Yeah, nearly 30 hit point. Nearly 30 hit point life differential. Now, granted, that's only like 1.5 combat wins, but still. Is it going to prompt a... Okay, yeah, it goes for the card crush. And I think possibly one of the few times that Djister has found a special block to deal with big high normals. Successfully sets up another Vine's turn. And we saw the 5 attack or the 5 block come out saying, I don't really have anything good. All 3 5s now in the discard. Seen an ace. Doesn't seem like, I mean, probably preferred just to play the queen there if you had it. So if I was Djister, I would think really carefully about just going for another cross-up. Yep, and he does. Unfortunately, the queen does come out, but Djister now has an opportunity just to go for rock armor if he wants to go super, super low cards and try to close this out. No. May not have rock armor off the 7 there. Sometimes that does happen. Going with the 7 attack is like... Your decision there could be between a 7 attack that you want to cross up successfully because you don't have rock armor and an even attack that you have rock armor on, but you think that probably my opponent's going to block even because most of my damage is off of even. So unfortunately he gets the worst of that exchange, but still, he's got his opponent at 35 hit points, fairly low hand. Carpe is now still going for blocks, so he is still... pressuring Rook's most difficult side of the RPS triangle, which is throws, because they just don't deal all that much damage. But he's going very low hand to make that happen. Evening things up, very, very close life totals. Strong card advantage on Djister's side, but does not have the range yet for rock armor lethal. This is one of the few situations where I could actually see that come into play. Nice queen block. Love to see that for Djister. High hand rook now online. Onimaru at 5 cards. Difficult position for him for sure. 3 kings in the discard, 2 queens. So the normals or the face cards not as reliable at this stage of the game as they may otherwise be. And Djister continuing to block. Tense stuff right now. Carpe having to play a cagey range, probably, on the Onimaru side. Ooh, does he have a 9? Okay, he's going to go down to 2 or 3 cards, or 3 or 4 off the draw. Does he have the other jack? Does, and Djister chooses not to face down there. So now, unfortunately, Djister in lethal range to a 10 here. Immediate single ace power up, and I think Carpe is going to press some kind of attack button. You do not want to get, you don't want to get AA'd, but you do not want to get checkmate bustered here. Yeah, there we go. That's how Djister sets you up. 15 hit points remain for Carpe. 20 on the Djister side. This is where it becomes very difficult to find this remaining damage. Kings are no longer a way to get 20. Queens are no way to get 20. Jacks, unless he has exactly 2 jacks in this 3-card hand. Very unlikely that he has it. The only way he's going to get exactly 20, so 1 combat win in order to win, is if he has a 10 in hand and he either lands it raw or dodges into it. Okay, Djister looking for a 10 there. Onimaru, or CarpeGuitarrem, sorry, saying, "King me if you dare. You won't, you coward. Thou shalt not king me." Another 5 in the discard. Only 1 though. We got 2 3s, 3 5s remaining. There's the dodge. Do we have a joker? We're going to face down here anyway. Yeah. Here's the 10. Puts himself on 1 card. Djister has the joker. Okay. All right. Extremely low hand intensifies. Carpe with 15 hit points and 2 cards in hand. Djister can now rock armor very, very confidently. The only thing it loses to is block, actually. A dodge is not going to be lethal for Carpe. And he may have another joker, so even that is... So the only safe play from Carpe is to block, and he could get king throwed for his troubles. I want to see 1 successful rock armor from... Does he have the second J? Fourth jack? Yeah, he probably didn't have it anyway. This should be... Oh, unless there's a joker. Could be a joker in there. You gotta bluff. You gotta bluff here. No, that's it? Yeah, that's it. Wow. Wow. Really, really exciting conclusion to that game. Nicely played on both players' part. That was a really, really awesome set. I'm really glad I got to catch that. Thank you everybody for watching. Until next time, enjoy yourself some Yomi. I've got to tell these people what they did.